What's up, y'all? It's Annabelle with That Good Shit, and I am here with
Greek.
Greek. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Fresh off their new album, which has already been getting beautiful reviews from all my friends who are big fans of yours. How are you feeling?
I feel really good. This has been something I've been working on for a long time, so it just feels good that it's finally out in the world and people are appreciating it as far as I know so far.
Super exciting. And how does it feel to be back in New York? Like, what's your favorite thing to do when you touch down in New York?
Honestly, see friends, because I have a lot of friends here that I have not seen in so long, so it's one of my favorite cities in the world, and I want to come here more. I want to move here, if I'm being honest. My friend Luke, my friend Chris, they're all good buddies that I like to go see whenever I'm down. Sam as well.
Love all the homies out here. What's your favorite food to get in New York?
Ramen.
Ooh, do you have any particular spot you like?
No, I need to do more searching around here. I still don't know the subway system yet, to be honest. I'm a fake New Yorker at the moment, but
You're getting there.
I grew up in Virginia, but a lot of my family's from New Jersey, and some lives in like Astoria,
Yeah.
up in Queens. So I used to come here a lot, but I never got the individual experience, you know?
Yeah.
It was always just like with my parents and stuff when I was younger.
What does being from Virginia mean to you? I feel like since the beginning of time, the music coming out of Virginia has always been so special, and now we're seeing a lot of artists from Virginia have like crazy motion. So what does coming from Virginia as a musician mean to you?
Honestly, it means a lot, and I didn't know it as a kid until I got a little bit more into like the culture that came out of Virginia, because I'm not from the Northeast and the eastern side of Virginia. I'm from the Southwest, actually, from this place called Martinsville. Culturally, in context of music, it is nowhere the same place. But being from there in general just made me appreciate it. I'm a big D'Angelo fan. I'm a big Timbaland fan. I'm a big Pharrell fan. Big Chad Hugo fan. I'm very grateful to see a lot of people coming out of there right now as well, including myself. But it's been something I can appreciate more than ever. So I'm happy to be making music in this time.
It's a really exciting time to be in music. I feel like there's so many amazing like new artists coming up and just creating new sounds. What's some music that's got you like really excited right now about like the general state of music?
I've always been a bit of an old head when it comes to music. Not like I miss a lot of new stuff, but I always go backwards.
Yeah.
But I've been, I like the new Charlie album. It's very cool. We're just talking about that.
It's a BRAT summer.
It's a BRAT summer. It's crazy. You were saying Cruiser earlier.
Yeah.
Cruiser's really tight.
It was super tight.
Very good. I like a lot of this stuff.
Do you have any like favorite song on BRAT? Just for the Greek fans to know what your favorite song is?
I do. Everything is romantic. I think the string section is so pretty. At the start of the song, is the auto-tune with the strings. People don't do that often. I think it's really cool.
Well, I would love to just dive into talking about the new album because I biked all the way from like Greenpoint over to Midtown, and it was like a 45-minute bike. And I was just running the album on the bike, and it's so beautiful, and I feel like it really made everything around me feel very picturesque and gorgeous. Tell me just in general what your mindset was when you went into making this album, and did it turn out the way you thought it would?
No, not at all. So the second track on the album is called RIPCORD, and I sampled this song by this guy named Mike James Kirkland. I listened to it for like 3 months straight until I realized I wanted to sample it. And the whole album initially was supposed to be entirely sample-based, funny enough. And then as I went on, I realized that I wanted to kind of approach it very differently, and I wrote a lot more songs just on the piano or on the guitar and things. And it took kind of a 180, which ultimately I think was the best decision because I'm very proud of the songs that came from it. But as I kind of went on with it, I just completely shifted where I was going with the songwriting and how I was doing it, because I don't know, it just didn't interest me as much at the time. I still want to do that though, but just not just yet. There's dozens of songs that didn't make the cut on it, to be honest, and the ones that ended up making it ultimately are the cream of the crop, at least to me.
I feel like every song on there is like top tier. I feel like there are some albums you listen through and there's like the couple like songs you know you're going to return to, but the rest can pass you by. But I feel like every song is like its own unique world on this album, and it's just like such a beautiful body of work. You were really diving into your writing on this album and like improving your skills as a writer. So what did that look like for you? Like how did you go about digging deeper as a writer and improving your skills?
First thing was first is I just simplified what I was doing, because I'm a producer. I mainly started music in the production sense, so I've always been so absorbed in that world, and for the first time I was like, why don't I just like step away from that for a moment? After the production's not my best work, but it's something that I wanted to take a back seat from and just let the songs be songs, you know? I got a piano from an estate sale that I somehow got for free when it was actually supposed to be $1,000, but the lady gave it to me when she realized that I was making music. I had a lot of time to myself to think, and a lot of things happened in the year that I was writing the song, so it was something that it came naturally once I realized that's what I wanted to do, but it just took a bit of living, to be quite frank, to understand that I needed to have a bit of life in me before I could write that.
Are there any like specific moments on the album that you're most proud of in terms of your writing?
All of River. River is my favorite song I've ever made up to this point. It's a cool song, but I think the writing on there is some of my best to date.
River's also my favorite song on the album. Yeah. Real recognize real. Literally, I listened to it and I was like, oh, this writing is different. Like, he was in a different bag on this.
I also like Human Nature, because That was the first time where I really feel like I talked my shit on a song, the intro, and I don't know, I feel like it's under the radar because it's the intro, but it's a cool one.
I also really appreciate the storytelling on Stranger, and you were telling me a little bit about that before the interview. Tell me a little bit about the process of writing Stranger and what that song means to you.
It's funny, I think a big superpower that people have when it comes to music is kind of like having a bit of duality in the meaning at times. In Stranger, it's about my grandmother, actually, and it's about her, like, kind of her case in battle with dementia as she took that on. And I don't know, the song doesn't really read into exactly like that, but I feel like with me, I guess just saying that, it might make more sense. But I don't know, it was something that took me a few rewrites and a few structural issues. That song actually got cut like 3 times. I was having an issue with the production actually on that until I had my friend, his name's Johan Lennox, helped me with a string section. I'd written it out and he helped me turn it into real music. And I think the song really got the boost that it needed. But that song is one of my favorites as well. I just think it was the first time I really dove into like my family and my life in that sense in song. That one and like Pure Americana is a big one for that. It's about like my home. And I just think it was a good song and a good concept to really drive that home, I guess, and it made me feel, I was very proud of that, and I feel like I did it justice.
That's really beautiful. As you were also, again, like digging into your songwriting, were there any songwriters that you personally listened to or look up to that you were kind of looking at to help guide your way as you were writing?
I was listening to a lot of the Beatles. I'm a big fan of grandiose artists. Stevie Wonder is probably my favorite artist of all time, and I was listening to a lot of Talking Book during the album process, and a lot of Paul McCartney's individual work was huge.
I also grew up on the Beatles and Paul McCartney, and that's some of the best songwriting of like all time. And you also self-produced the entire album with some contribution from friends as well. So tell me about that process. Like, what did an average day in the studio creating this album look like for you?
I'm pretty hard-headed when it comes to music. I just do it until something happens. You know what I'm saying? I actually need to work on like taking some time away from it. But for this album, it was the longest process I had in making some songs. I had like a bunch of demos, and I would work them to a certain point, and then I would get a little bit confused. And for the ones that people helped me on, it was because I just needed a bit of like a addition, a bit of a boost to really drive home the ideas and stuff. It was a lot of reps, I guess the word would be. I made a lot of songs, I wrote a lot of things. Ripcord has a beat switch in the middle of it. I redid that, I think, 11 times.
Oh my God.
And I wrote like 11 different verses. And they all waver in good and bad, but some of them are all over the place. And the last one that I did was the one that actually made the album. So it's just like, it takes those things to, I think, at least perfect it in your mind. You know what I'm saying? To think that you're where you need to be. What's
your relationship with like perfectionism? What role does that play in your art?
I'm just such a big fan of just trying a bunch of times, truthfully. So I know it's never achievable literally, but I do adore the idea of chasing it. I think I'm a big sports guy. I'm like a huge LeBron fan, and I think the chase for that in the context of sports kind of relates to music for me. It's why I like icon artists, I guess it would be, is because I'm a big fan of like icons in that sense, And in that context, I use that interest to drive me chasing perfection. Like Michael Jackson, like drove himself insane making Thriller, and even Off the Wall, it was his first individual project, well, past his like youth. I'm a big fan of that, like the chase for greatness, doing that and perfectionism. It's never achievable, but it's always good to try and think that you're capable. If there was one song that did achieve perfection in this world, what song would that be to you? Rock With You by Michael Jackson. Yeah. There's definitely some more I could think of, but that's, I think all in all, arguably my favorite song of all time. It's just like, it's perfect. Yeah, I don't know why. Another song on the album that I really, really love was Hounds. That one was a really special one to me, really breathtaking. Tell me the story behind that song and how that one came together. The first half of the song was done for a while, funny enough. And I tried a few things on the outro, but at some point my friend Jonah, his name's Jonah Roy, came in the room and just started playing some very beautiful chords. And I started singing over it, and I was like, that's it. And he just kind of, literally as simple as that, very natural. We just started playing some guitar chords in my room, and we just wrote out the whole section together. What was like your favorite moment of collaboration on the album? I started crying when I heard the strings back from Johan Lennox. I don't even know how to word it, but I just like, it's very cool to hear your creation in that context. Someone like really, what I wrote out and what he helped like obviously write out as well, just come back to me in audio format. So thanks, Johan. Yeah, Johan's a legend. Everything he touches like is gold. I want to talk a little bit about the cover and just like, I think the visuals for this album are really beautiful. So what inspired the cover, especially that like orange color? I think it's so striking and pretty. I don't know what it is, but I adore how blown out I've done my visuals so far, like Ecstasy, which is very separate from this, but also in a way I found it to be derivative from that. Just like a more mature version of that. I've felt very orange the last few months, you know what I'm saying?
Kind of orange mood.
In that sense. Chris Metz, his name is, shot the cover. one of the best photographers. He's probably the best photographer right now. The photo was from the There For You, which is a song on the album. It's from a video shoot. And I was just looking through it one day. I never, as of now, I don't think too hard about it. I was just see a picture, I'm like, that's it. And it just felt like it was perfect, and I edited the orange up myself. I just fit the name, the narrative, what I really wanted to go for, and I thought it was just like perfectly descriptive of what the album was.
Tell me about the name Accelerator. Why Accelerator?
So it's not literally about cars, funny enough, but I'm from a very car-centric family. My hometown is a NASCAR track, which I grew up pretty side by side with that. A bit of a dual statement because it also just felt like it's time for progression, and I feel like a pretty big forward step came with that. And this album is just like the name Accelerator is kind of just synonymous with that, with me just like having a bit of maturation in my work and moving forward, and also it just fit because I was just like a lot of it's about my hometown and like my life in that way, so I thought it was kind of fitting.
And you're about to do a pop-up tomorrow. I feel like every time you come to New York, you do like a cool pop-up. Like I feel like you're really like the king of pop-ups. Tell me like your favorite part about doing these kind of pop-up events and connecting with your fans on that level.
Honestly, it's just simply just meeting people that have been impacted by what I've made. I in no way deserve to like have people supporting me more than anyone else. You know what I'm saying? So to see someone take the time out of their day and come like meet me, this is cool. I remember we did the first ever vinyls that we had made for my last album, Ecstasy. We did a pop-up, I think later last year. This is very cool to hear like individuals tell me like how they found my music or how they've been impacted by it. It's just a very humbling thing, you know.
Do you have any specific like favorite memory of a pop-up?
Actually, at that same one in New York, there's this young guy and his mom that came, the first person to ever buy my vinyl, which, thank you. They waited for like a few hours beforehand. And it was just like one of those very endearing moments, but they were so sweet. It was so cool. He's a video game programmer, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to school for that. And I was like, how did you find my music in that?
What's like the wildest way you've heard that someone has discovered your music, or like most memorable?
I get some crazy DMs sometimes about that, but there's some wholesome ones I get too, to be honest. The people just like good date music I've heard.
Everyone watching this interview, comment how you found Greek's music.
Yeah, please, I'm curious, honestly.
Yeah. Your fans are so active. Like, I feel like every time we post anything Greek related on that good shit, your fans are like spamming the comments. The Greek updates pages are going nuts. Like, you've got some serious fans writing for you. What does your relationship to your community mean for you? Because they really ride for you.
It means the world, and it's the only reason why I can really do this. I mean, I'm a bit of a shy guy, so I stay off the internet for the most part, but whenever I am on there, I'm doing live streams and stuff, I like to try to go above and beyond to make sure they know that I love them, and I appreciate it, because I literally couldn't do this without anyone, without them.
Shout out to them. They're real. They're in there. And Greek, who are you a fan of right now? Who are you listening to? What's on the top of your playlist? You can check your Spotify if you need to. That's completely fine, yeah. And we got the orange phone cover.
Oh, we're very, very honest.
I got my tie tee to match the color of the album. That was on purpose.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Childish Gambino is one of my favorite artists of all time. But I'm excited for the album. I know it's coming soon.
Yeah.
But also Ada Vista was fully done, was cool. Concrete Boys, I've listened to the...
Naturally.
I really like Black and Tan, by the way. The song by White Sea and Lance Ufo.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a few weeks, but it's very cool. No Worries album.
No Worries album. You were just saying you pulled up to Anderson Paak on the street the other day. Tell me about that.
Me and Lamar here were doing a pop-up in Los Angeles, and we had rented this old Mercedes. And right before we're about to go to it, this lowrider comes by us, like an older Cadillac or something. And this guy, the license plate said "Yes, Lord" on it. And I was like, wait a second, I know that term from somewhere. I look inside and it's Anderson Paak driving the car, and he just like waves at us. And I was like, what the fuck? I love Anderson Paak. I was listening to Starlight from the first NxWorries tape as he drove by.
That's so good. You summoned him.
I literally summoned him. I wanted to say hi, but he drove by too fast.
What's your favorite song on the new No Worries album?
I think it was Distractions was my favorite, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah.
I gotta give it another listen or two. I listened to it like twice.
Do you have any like smaller rising artists that you're excited about right now?
For New York's sake, I love 454.
Oh yeah, we were just at his show yesterday. 454 is my goat for sure. Shout out to him. What's one song that reminds you of summer? It's summertime right now. It's hot.
Well, of my own, I'll say Virginia Creeper, but we're not doing that right now. A weird one that I used to listen to when I was younger a lot over the summertime, Sweet by Jay-Z. Not like a super summer song, but I adore that one. It's cool. I listened to it in the car over the summer.
For anyone who hasn't listened to Accelerator yet, what's like the perfect ideal conditions for your first listen of the album? Where should you be and what should you be doing?
I like your take on it. I think a bike ride, ideally if you're in New York City for some reason, that'd be great. But when I was making it, I got the chance to go to, I was in Europe last year for the first time ever, and I was biking around Amsterdam. Coolest thing ever. I've never left the country before that. It wasn't done yet, but that for myself even was very cool. Just like on a bike, enjoying the day, have some headphones in, fall day ideally, brisk breeze in the air.
Okay.
It's cool.
That sounds nice. Greek, if there's one thing that you want your listeners to take away from the album, what would you want that to be? Like one thing you want them to learn about you through listening to Accelerator?
I don't think there's any one thing I want them to learn. I just want them to really, I guess, to listen to what I'm saying more than anything. You know, I think some of the lines go over people's heads, or might not that they're like that in depth per se, but I think it definitely does describe a lot about myself and like maybe some of the fears and insecurities and also confidences that I hold. And I think it's a good way to honestly to get to know me if you're curious.
Last thing I want to ask you before we get out of here is if you could say something to Greek on day one of making this album, being where you are now and having finished it, what would you tell him?
Go easy on yourself, honestly.
Yeah.
This is a tough time, but it was very worth it at the end. I would say go easy on yourself. It'll all end up being okay.
Is there anything else that the people should know about Greek?
I love you, Mom.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.